When you close your eyes and silence the noise of the world, what do you hear within? Not the chatter of fear, not the echoes of doubt, but something older, something still and steady, like a mountain within your chest. There is a summit higher than any you could find in the world, and it is there that your soul calls you to ascend, not with footsteps, but with truth, not with maps, but with virtue, not with crowds, but in quiet perseverance. Plato once spoke of the realm of forms, the world beyond appearances, where the true essence of beauty, justice, and goodness live. He did not speak of it as fantasy. He pointed us toward the inner landscape, where real growth begins. It is within that the soul stretches toward perfection, toward clarity, toward light. You may seek many things in life, but until you turn inward and begin the climb to your own summit, all other journeys will leave you hungry. This climb requires no applause, no recognition, for the greatest achievements of the soul happen in silence, when no one is watching, when there is no reward but the becoming itself. You rise each day, not to impress, not to prove, not to conquer, but to align, to purify, to listen to that voice of stillness within that says, "This is the way, walk in it." Socrates said, "Know thyself," and in that simple phrase, he gave the key to all true ascent. For to know yourself is to know your weaknesses, your shadows, your hidden strengths, and your divine potential. The climb to your summit begins when you no longer flee from your truth, when you sit with your pain and ask it to speak, when you stand before your fears, not to fight them, but to understand them. Every inner storm contains a map. Every wound contains a whisper. Every doubt hides a deeper invitation to grow. You do not need to shout to the world that you are rising. You need only rise. You do not need to explain your progress to those who do not walk your path. You need only take the next step, for this climb is sacred. It is between you and your soul, between you and the divine spark placed within you by the Logos, the eternal order of reason and harmony that moves all things forward. Epictetus taught that we must not seek to control what is outside our will, but to master what lies within our own power. And this is the heart of the climb. You cannot command the winds, but you can steady your sail. You cannot halt the seasons, but you can tend your fire. You cannot change the world overnight, but you can change your thoughts, your actions, your habits. And these are the stones that build the summit path. The journey will not always be clear. At times, the fog will cover the way, and your strength will feel small, and your courage will flicker. But still you climb because you have chosen truth over comfort, virtue over pleasure, purpose over passivity. And in this choice, you become one with the great philosophers, with the seekers and the sages and the warriors of spirit who chose the mountain, not because it was easy, but because it was true. Aristotle said the purpose of life is happiness, eudaimonia, but not the fleeting pleasure of comfort, the lasting joy of excellence, of fulfilling your nature. And your nature is not static. You are meant to expand. You are meant to unfold, to actualize your divine blueprint. And this unfolding happens in every moment of conscious choice, every act of discipline, every surrender to what is good and noble and right. You may not always feel like you are rising, but if you remain faithful to your path, you are. You may not see the summit, but it is already forming within you. For the summit is not a place. It is a state of being. It is the peace that comes from knowing you did not quit on yourself. It is the joy that arises when you align with the eternal. It is the strength that comes from standing in your truth. Even when it costs you everything, climb in silence, grow in patience, trust the invisible work of the soul. Not all change is visible, not all growth is loud. Sometimes the most powerful transformation is quiet, like the seed breaking in darkness, like the dawn arriving without fanfare, like wisdom forming in the depths of the heart. This is your calling, not to conquer the world, but to master the summit within, to rise each day, not in pride, but in devotion, not in fear, but in faith, not in haste, but in truth. And when you reach that summit, you will know, not because the world would cheer, but because your soul will be at peace, and that peace will shine brighter than any crown and echo louder than any praise, and it will carry you into eternity. There is a fire that lives in the hearts of the courageous, a flame not born of destruction, but of resolve, not made to burn the world, but to purify the soul. It does not consume, it does not scream, it glows with the stillness of stars and the strength of mountains. This fire is called endurance, and without it, no truth can be lived, no purpose can be realized, no soul can fulfill its path. When Heraclitus said character is destiny, he was pointing to this fire. For endurance is not a mere act of surviving. It is a conscious burning away of weakness, a refusal to yield to the storm, a quiet agreement with suffering that says, I will stay standing, not because it is easy, but because it is right. Endurance is the soul's covenant with the eternal. It is the strength to remain when others retreat, the will to press forward when all seems lost, the grace to carry pain without losing compassion. Endurance is not the absence of pain. It is the presence of meaning. Pain without purpose crushes, but pain with purpose transforms. It is the anvil on which the self is forged. It is the fire in which illusion melts. It is the teacher that asks, not for answers, but for faith. The ancients knew this well. They did not seek to escape hardship. They sought to understand it, to meet it with the soul awake and the spirit unyielding. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This strength is endurance, not the kind that resents the world, but the kind that rises above it. It does not fight life. It flows with it, like a river through stone, like breath through chaos. It knows that time bends for those who remain faithful to the path. When you feel broken, when the nights are long and the light is gone and no one sees what you carry, endure not for applause, not for validation, but because your soul is being tempered like steel in flame, like marble under chisel, like gold in the furnace. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Plato taught that the soul forgets its divine origins until life awakens it again, and nothing awakens the soul more powerfully than endurance. For in it, we remember what we truly are. We are not fragile. We are not fleeting. We are not victims. We are vessels of eternity, and eternity is patient to endure. Does not mean to accept abuse. It means to transform it, to face it with wisdom, to turn suffering into strength, despair into vision loss, into deeper love. It is the greatest alchemy known to man, and it happens in the secret places, in the silent vows you make with yourself, to never give up on your becoming Epictetus. The slave turned philosopher said, "We are not disturbed by events, but by the views we take of them." This is the power of endurance. It is born in the soul. It is not granted by the world. It is the decision to respond with dignity to pain, to answer injustice with virtue, to meet hardship, not with complaint, but with clarity. This is the path of the Stoic, not cold, not detached, but inwardly radiant and free. When the world breaks, you open. Let it be the breaking of a seed, not the shattering of a shell. When you fall to your knees, let it be to pray, to rise again, not to surrender to despair. When you are exhausted, let your breath remind you, you are still here. And where there is breath, there is will. And where there is will, there is fire. And where there is fire, there is light. And where there is light, there is life. The gods of Greece did not bless the idle. They blessed the brave, the enduring, the ones who bore their fate with nobility and turned wounds into wisdom and sorrow into songs that echo across ages. For it is not the easy lives we remember, but the souls who endured, who built beauty from ashes, who walked through shadows and emerged burning with truth. This is your fire, the one that does not burn, but illuminates. It is already within you. Feed it not with fear, but with purpose, not with pride, but with perseverance, not with anger, but with meaning. You are not too late. You are not too weak. You are not too far gone. You are simply in the fire, and the fire is your friend. And when it is done, you will not be the same. You will be more. You will be whole, and you will carry the fire, not as a burden, but as a light for others. If you felt inspired by our journey through the Hellenic horizons, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.